Basic life support. Learning the D.R.S.A.B.C.D steps by association. Brought to you by Andrew Campbell, Workplace Trainer. Phase 1. Learning the body file locations. We'll be using body file locations so that you can store images of items that we associate with the different steps of the basic life support plan. The first body file location is the top of your head. Using your finger, point to the top of your head and say 1 top. Your second body file location is your nose. Using your finger, point to your nose and say 2 nose. Your third body file location is your mouth. Using your finger, point to your mouth and say 3 mouth. Your fourth body file location is rib. Using your finger, point to your rib and say 4 rib. So far you have learnt the first 4 body file locations. Can you remember what number 2 is? 2 is your nose. What was number 1? Top of your head. Number 3, mouth. Number 4, rib. Practice these. Your fifth body file location is lung. Using your finger, point to your lung and say 5 lung. Your sixth body file location is joint. Using your finger, point to your hip joint and say 6 joint. The seventh and last body file location is your kneecap. We're just going to call it cap. Using your finger, point to your kneecap and say 7 cap. You have now learnt the 7 body file locations. Can you remember what they are? What was 1? What was 3? What was 4? What was 2? What was 6? What was 7? 1 is top. 2 is nose. 3 is mouth. 4 is rib. 5 is lung. 6 is joint. And 7 is cap. How did you go? Phase 2 is all about using your body file locations to store images. Pointing to the top of your head, say 1 top. Still pointing to the top of your head, I want you to imagine a big danger sign sitting on the top of your head. See the big danger sign sitting on the top of your head? Your second body file location is nose. Now we're going to look at an image we can put on your nose. The image we want to store on your nose is a cow with a sign hanging off the side of it with the name Response RE, which stands for Response Real Estate. Can you see the cow with the sign Response RE hanging on the side of it? The third body file location is 3 mouth. There are some items coming out of your mouth. The items coming out of your mouth are an S.O.S symbol, a mobile phone, a first aid kit, and a baby's bib with the letter D on it. Great work. Can you remember position number 1? 1 is top, and what is on top of your head? That's right, it's the danger sign. The danger sign is on top of your head. Now pointing to your mouth, position number 3, say 3 mouth. What is coming out of your mouth? That's right, the S.O.S sign, a mobile phone, a first aid kit, and a baby's bib with the letter D on it. What about position number 2? Can you remember? Point to your nose. 2 is nose. What was standing on your nose? That's right, a cow with a sign on the side of it saying Response Real Estate. Great job. Position number 4, Remember, it's your rib. What pictures do you think we're going to have on your rib? The first picture is a picture of a beaker on a set of scales, and we're actually weighing the air inside the beaker. The second picture is the head of a unicorn on a quilt, a head quilt. Position number 5 is your lung. The following pictures are to be stored at your lung. The picture that I want you to imagine is Brie cheese about to be smashed by Thing from the Fantastic Four. Can you see Thing smashing the Brie cheese? There's also a bomb with a 10-second timer on it. Can you remember bomb with 10-second timer? Okay, position number 6 is joint. The first image that we want you to remember is sepia. Sepia is the Latin word for cuttlefish. The second image is the image of a spring being compressed 30 times. The third image is 2 rescue rings. So we have sepia, compression, and rescue. The last position, position number 7, is cap. The last image that we want you to remember in this position 7 cap is a picture of a baby's bib with the letter D on it. Can you look down at your knee and see a baby's bib with the letter D? Well done. How did you go? So, a great idea would be to pause the video now, go back, point to each of those body file locations and see if you can remember what the images were that are associated with each of those body file locations. It should only take you 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm guessing that you will remember most of them pretty easily. When you're ready, press play again. Phase 3 is about putting it all together. Some people say I'm crazy. I'll let you be the judge of that. So now we're going to go through the 7 steps to basic life support. You'll be surprised at the association you can make with the images and each step in the basic life support plan. Step 1. D is for danger. Pointing to the top of your head, can you remember the image that was there? That's right, the danger sign. You need to check for danger to yourself, to any bystanders, and of course, further danger to your casualty. Step 2. R is for response. Pointing to your nose, can you remember the image? That's right, it was the cow with the response sign. COW is an acronym and it can help you to remember what to say. C. Can I help you? O. Open your eyes. W. What's your name? And S. Squeeze my hand. Step 3. S is for send for help. Pointing to your mouth, say 3 mouth. What was in your mouth? That's right, the SOS sign. SOS stands for send for help. There was also a mobile phone. You use this to call for help. Call 000 or 112. What else was in there? That's right, there was a first aid kit. Send someone to get you a first aid kit. You may need to use it. The last item may be a bit funny. It was a baby's bib with the letter D on it. You can associate the D.R.S.A.B.C.D for a defib, a defibrillator. Send someone to get you a defibrillator. You may need to use it. Step 4. A is for airway. Pointing to your rib, say 4 rib. Can you remember what was attached to your rib? That's right, a beaker full of air being weighed on a scale. This represents airway. The next image was the head of a unicorn as a quilt. The quilt represents tilt. head tilt. Step 5. B is for breathing. Pointing to your lung, say 5 lung. Can you remember the image attached to your lung? That's right, the brie cheese being smashed by Thing from Fantastic Four. This image represents breathing. Step 5, B is for breathing. How long do we check the breathing for? Well, we have a bomb with a 10 seconds timer on it, remember? So we check for normal breathing for a period of 10 seconds. If our casualty is breathing normally, we place them into the recovery position. If they're not breathing normally, we continue on to the next step. Step 6. C is for CPR. Pointing to your hip joint, say 6 joint. Can you remember the image? It was the image of CPR, a cuttlefish. CPR is the representation for CPR. What else is there? That's right, the spring. The spring represents the number of compressions you do when performing CPR. 30 compressions. After the 30 compressions, we perform 2 rescue breaths. That's right, the image of the 2 rings are rescue rings. They are your representation for rescue breaths. So step 6, C is for CPR. 30 compressions to 2 rescue breaths. Of course, if you don't have a face shield, there's no need to perform the rescue breaths, and you can do compression only CPR. Step 7. D is for defibrillator. This is the last step in the doctor's ABCD. Pointing to your kneecap, say 7 cap. What was attached to your kneecap? That's right, it was a baby's bib with the letter D on it, which is short for defib. So as soon as the defib arrives, attach it to your casualty, and you only need to do that if you are performing CPR. Doctor's ABCD. Let's recap. 1 top, 2 nose, 3 mouth, 4 rib, 5 lung, 6 joint, 7 cap. Can you remember the images? Step 1. D is for danger. The image that we had in the position 1 top was the danger sign. Danger to yourself, to any bystanders, and any further danger to our casualty. Step 2. R is for response. Position number 2, nose. The image of the cow with a response real estate sign on it. Checking to see if our casualty has a response. Ask questions. Can I help you? Open your eyes. What's your name? Squeeze my hand. Step 3. S is for send for help. Position 3, mouth. We had the picture of the S.O.S sign, the mobile phone, the first aid kit, and the D.B.B. So in this step, sending for help, we want to make sure that we call 000 or 112 for an ambulance, ask someone to grab a first aid kit, and if one is available, ask someone to grab a defib. Step 4. A is for airway. Position 4, rib. We had the picture of the beaker filled with air being weighed. This represented airway. We also have the picture of the unicorn head on a quilt. This picture represented the head tilt. We tilt the head back on our casualty to lift the tongue up off the back of the throat so that we can check for breathing. Step 5. B is for breathing. So position number 5 was our lung. We had the image of the brie being smashed by Thing from the Fantastic Four to represent breathing. We check for normal breathing for 10 seconds. If our casualty is not breathing, we move on to CPR. If our casualty is breathing, we place them in recovery position and wait for the ambulance. Step 6. C is for CPR. Position 6 on the body was the hip joint, or just joint. Here we had the picture of the sepia, a cuttlefish, which represented CPR. We also have the image of the spring being compressed 30 times to represent 30 compressions. The 2 rescue rings were there to represent the rescue breaths. So CPR is conducted 30 compressions to 2 rescue breaths. Now, if you do not have a face shield to perform the rescue breaths, just continue with the chest compressions until help arrives. Step 7. D is for defibrillator. Position 7 was the kneecap, and we shortened that to just cap. So 7 is cap. Here we had the image of a baby's bib with the letter D on it. D-bib. This represented defib, or defibrillator. A defibrillator should be attached to your casualty as soon as possible if there's one available. But don't worry, just continue CPR until the ambulance arrives and they will have a defibrillator that they can attach to your casualty. Well, that's it, the basic life support plan, the doctor's ABCD. Thanks for listening.